Have you ever noticed that you can sense within 4 seconds of meeting someone whether to trust them, but you could never explain how? What if that instinct isn't intuition at all? What if it's a ledger your brain keeps without asking your permission, logging every word as a deposit or a withdrawal long before your conscious mind catches up? The reason is hidden inside a mechanism running underneath every conversation you have ever had. And once you understand it, you will never read a stranger or yourself the same way again. I'm not here to make you paranoid. I'm here to make you unmanipulable. This is 12 plus 1 dark psychology tricks that feel illegal to know. There was a moment, you know the one, where you walked away from a conversation feeling smaller than when you walked in. You replayed it that night. You couldn't find the exact sentence that did it. There wasn't one. There was a sequence, a series of small, deliberate withdrawals from an account you didn't know you were keeping. You think you were having a conversation. You were not. You were being charged. Every time you speak to another human being, 2 ledgers open at once. There's the one you can hear, the words, and there's the one underneath it, where status, trust, and compliance are deposited and withdrawn, and neither party ever says so out loud. That exhaustion you feel after certain conversations, the ones where you can't explain why you feel small or guilty or strangely compliant, that is not random. That is a receipt, evidence that someone else read the second ledger fluently while you were only ever reading the first. Here is the first thing nobody tells you. Manipulation rarely looks like manipulation. It looks like kindness. It looks like vulnerability. It looks like logic. That is the mask. And the unbearable part is, the mask is not only worn by them, you wear one too. Every interaction is 2 masked accountants, each one managing the other's perception of the balance, both pretending the ledger doesn't exist. So let's stop pretending. Here is the architecture running beneath your daily life, not so you become a predator, but so you stop being prey. But this is where most people misunderstand everything. They think dark psychology means tricking people into things they don't want. It doesn't. You are vulnerable because you are not weak. You are vulnerable because your ledger has never been audited. Let's audit it. 1. The foot in the door. Get someone to agree to something small, and a deposit is made into their self-image. I am the kind of person who says yes to this person. Every yes after that is just protecting the deposit. 2. Strategic vulnerability. Confessing a minor flaw is a deposit so convincing it buys credit for every larger claim that follows unchecked. The flaw is the bait. The trust it purchases is the trap. 3. The pratfall effect. A small, well-timed mistake from someone otherwise impressive makes them more likable, not less. Perfection withdraws trust. A controlled stumble deposits it. 4. Strategic silence. Silence creates a pressure so unbearable that most people make an unplanned withdrawal from their own composure, filling it with information, concessions, or confessions they never intended to give.
The human mind has hidden patterns. Subscribe to the channel. Stay aware. You are not uncomfortable in silence because silence is awkward. You are uncomfortable because somewhere along the way, you learned that silence in a ledger means someone is about to collect. Keep auditing. 5. The scarcity trigger. Desire is not generated by value. It is generated by access. Remove access and the brain manufactures value out of nothing. The same circuitry that drives addiction drives longing for a person who is never quite available. 6. Reciprocity debt. An unsolicited favor opens an account in someone else's name. Most people overpay that debt just to relieve the discomfort of an open balance, even to someone they don't fully trust. Anchoring. The first number, the first label, the first impression sets the opening balance every future judgment is measured against, regardless of how arbitrary that first entry actually was. the mirror. Subtly matching someone's tone, pace, and posture deposits unconscious trust because the oldest part of the brain reads "similar to me" as safe to extend credit to. Here is the darker truth hiding under all 8 of these. None of them require you to be foolish. They only require you to be human, wired like everyone else to trust patterns your ancestors needed to survive in small tribes, now exploited at scale by strangers who studied the wiring and you didn't. 4 more entries remain. They are the ones that don't just take from the ledger, they rewrite it. 9. Controlled ambiguity. A statement vague enough that the listener fills in the meaning themselves will feel more personally true than a precise one, because people extend more credit to their own conclusions than to your claims. 10. The sunk cost lever. Once someone has invested time, money, or identity into a position, they defend that position past the point of logic, because closing the account means admitting the investment was a loss. 11. Labeling. Assign someone an identity. You're the reasonable one. You're not like other people. And they will unconsciously perform that identity to keep the deposits of validation coming. 12. Strategic confusion. A brief moment of disorientation lowers critical resistance. While the mind is busy rebalancing the account, a suggestion slips past the auditor that would normally object. +1. The real trick, naming it. All 12 entries above only function while the ledger stays invisible. The instant you can name a tactic while it is happening to you, its withdrawal fails. Not because the tactic weakens, but because you stop being an unaudited account. Awareness is the only entry that closes all 12 at once. Here is the moment everything changes. You stop asking, "How do I use this on other people?" and you start asking a far more dangerous question. Where have I been letting this happen to me? That is the rupture. That is the moment the apprentice stops being a line item in someone else's ledger. It will feel lonely for a while. Awareness always does. You'll start noticing the second ledger in conversations you used to enjoy without thinking. Some relationships will feel heavier because you can finally see the balance being settled underneath the words. This is not paranoia. This is an audit. Here is the mechanism almost no one explains about influence. Power is not something you take. It is something other people hand you the moment they sense you can no longer be silently charged. The one who recognizes the foot in the door doesn't get angry. They simply stop opening the account. The one who recognizes strategic silence doesn't rush to fill it. They let it sit there, untouched, and the room recalibrates its balance around them instead. You do not need to manipulate anyone to gain leverage. You only need to become an account that cannot be overdrawn. And people who once read you effortlessly will find without knowing why that they suddenly can't and will treat you with a different kind of respect. You are no longer the apprentice. You are the cartographer now. The one who can see the terrain everyone else blindly walks across, the deposits, the withdrawals, the silences, the masks. You are not a manipulator. You are not a victim. You are something rarer than both, a witness who cannot be lied to in the language of power, because you finally learned to read the ledger. Knowledge like this does not make you dangerous to other people. It makes you finally safe from the version of yourself who didn't know what was happening to him. So the next time someone goes quiet to pressure you, confesses a flaw to disarm you, or hands you a label to control you, you will not feel manipulated. You will simply recognize the entry. And recognition, once it arrives, never leaves the ledger again. Which one of these 12 has been used on you, and you only just realized it while watching this? Tell me the number below,